Have you ever wondered how some people are able to persuade others with ease and get them to just respond in a way and manner that they expect them to? In meetings, in negotiations, or even in a casual conversation. There's certain people that have the ability to persuade others, and this is why persuasion is a great skill that you need to have. It is a very important skill, and that's what this video is going to be about. So today we'll be diving into the art of persuasion, and I'll be sharing with you techniques that can be utilized to transform your communication skills. So in this video, we'll cover what persuasion is. We're going to look at why persuasion is important, and we'll also talk about some techniques that you can utilize in the art of persuasion. So these are the three basic things that this video will be talking about, and the essence is to make sure that at the end of the day you become a more persuasive communicator. So first question is, what is persuasion? Right. So to answer that question real quick, let me start by saying that persuasion is a process of influencing someone's beliefs, someone's attitudes, and someone's behavior. That's what persuasion basically is. It's that, the ability, the process of influencing people's behavior, attitude, or their beliefs. Okay, so if you understand this, then it's easy for you to make progress from there, because you will understand clearly that persuasion is not really about you getting your way, but it's about creating a win-win situation where both parties are satisfied. That's what persuasion really is about. So because you have a good intention when you persuade people and you want everybody to have a win-win situation, it's not about you trying to make someone, the other party, feel bad or feel like they lost out in the whole discussion or conversation or the entire process. So this is very important. If you have this, then we're good to go. I just want you to cast your mind on when the last time you were persuaded. What techniques do you think the person utilized to get you on board or to get you to commit to whatever it is that you were being persuaded about? If you understand these, then it will help you to become more effective in the art of persuasion. So we want to talk about the importance of persuasion. Persuasion, I believe strongly, and I say this all the time when I talk about persuasion, it is very crucial in every aspect of our lives. Persuasion is important in business, it's important in relationships, persuasion is important in even our social settings. Everything that we do, we utilize persuasion consciously or unconsciously. And this is very important because it helps you to advocate for your ideas. Persuasion helps you to negotiate better deals. Persuasion helps you to build stronger connections. Now, these are very important elements in persuasion. In fact, in professional context, being persuasive can lead to promotions on the job. It can lead to successful projects. And in fact, persuasion helps you to have improved teamwork. If you have the skill, of persuasion, you have a better team. You will do a lot more on the job. And this is why persuasion techniques are very important. And that is what I want to share with you next in this video. Now, there are 5 techniques that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. The first in the list of techniques I have utilized and will be sharing in this video is storytelling. Now, storytelling remains one very powerful tool, specifically in a persuasion, because human beings are wired to respond to stories. This is very important, and I like to say that because we're wired to respond to stories, when you share a personal story or a relatable anecdote, what happens is that it creates an emotional connection. This is very important. I remember the last masterclass that I conducted. I told a couple stories in the course of the sessions, and every time I shared a story, people just stayed glued. I took them on a journey to be a part of that entire experience, and that is what storytelling really does for you. It's a very powerful tool, and when you have a compelling story that is told, it can make you take a decision much easily, because it kind of make whatever it is you're talking about more appealing. Right, let's take a product for example. You tell a compelling story about a product. It makes that product more appealing, rather than just listing the benefits of the product. Listing the features, for example, of the product. It's always more beneficial when you share story about how that product has changed the life of those who use it. That's the idea. That's what it is. When you watch adverts and you see a lady using a particular cream or soap and how the beautiful texture of their skin, they're just telling you that, look, this cream or this soap, this soap, this is what the story is, that it transforms you from whatever you are to what you're seeing on screen. That's a story. Okay, so storytelling is a very powerful tool that is utilized in persuasion. The second technique is emotional appeal. What is emotional appeal? Basically, people often make decisions based on emotions rather than logic. So instead of using their head, they use their heart. That's the way I say it. Okay. Instead of using their head, they use their heart. So this is more of emotion. So use emotional triggers. What are emotional triggers? Emotional triggers are those things that you utilize that will help to drive people into actions. Examples of emotional triggers are happiness, fear, or nostalgia. Right? It enables you connect with your audience. Okay, so if you talk about a product, for example, how the product makes people happy. So let me give you an example. The brand Coca-Cola, they use happiness, open happiness, for example. So that emotional trigger, that if you take a bottle of Coke, you're going to be happier. That's the emotional trigger, and that's why it's selling. It's a brand that's selling so well. I'm not advertising for them here, but I'm just using that as an example to say, listen, this is an emotional trigger that works. Some people have products and they use fear as an emotional trigger. I don't want to give any example of that here. And sometimes it's nostalgia. So these are emotional triggers that you can utilize in the course of negotiation. I mean, in the course of trying to get people to commit to something in persuasion. This is very important, right? So I've shared a couple examples. I've used Coca-Cola, and you can also see in some campaigns, when people are doing campaigns for charity, they kind of share impact of what has happened. They show pictures of what that your support will do and how it can change the lives of certain children in certain parts of the world. That emotional trigger makes you feel the need to support that drive, to support that foundation, to support that commitment that they're making. So that feeling that you have at that time, okay, it makes you want to donate. It makes you want to give into that cause, because the story behind the cause is touching. And what that really does is just, it's called emotional appeal. That's the essence of that picture, the videos, or the story that you're being told. The third one is what I call social proof. Now, social proof is the fact that people tend to follow the actions of others. If someone is doing something and others see the impact of what that person is doing, the tendency is they want to follow suit. Okay, so if you highlight testimonials, you look at case studies and bring it to the fore, you talk about statistical data, and then you show how others have benefited from your idea, from your product, or how they have been enriched through that process. That's singular, that arrangement, that story, that statistical data, or the video that you put out, or people sharing their testimony, or talking about the evidence that they've earned money from the process and all that, is called social proof. And social proof helps people to connect quickly, because when you share that, it builds credibility and trust. That's what happens. It builds credibility and trust. So you see a case where we have influencers talk about a brand and say they have also bought into that brand, and they showcase the fact that they bought in. That social proof, makes you want to get involved, makes you want to buy into it. Okay, so it also works if you're selling a product, or you share reviews from satisfied customers who have patronized that product. It makes others want to buy in. That's social proof. The next one is reciprocity. And reciprocity is, it's a principle. The principle of reciprocity simply states that people feel obliged to return favors. People feel obliged to return favors. So, for example, if you help someone, they are naturally attuned, are likely to return that favor in some way. Okay, so that principle of reciprocity is very powerful. So this is what I do using that principle. Sometimes I offer value upfront, and whether it's free advice, resources, or support, this can create a sense of obligation that makes the other person more receptive to your request or to your offer. All right, so I do it a lot. When people come to my office, they ask, they want coaching in public speaking. I provide them some support. I provide them some kind of resource that they can utilize. And before you know it, they feel obligated to say, okay, you know what? They feel obliged to say, yes, I like the way you are actually responding. You've already started out to help me with certain things. I've not even made commitment. I like it. And just when you push out the offer, they're like, yes, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it because if I've not made commitment and I'm getting this kind of value in their head, the thought is, if I now make commitment, what kind of great value am I going to get? It's going to be much more. So that is the principle of reciprocity. It works every time in persuasion. And then the last one, which I would want to share with you, is scarcity. I learned scarcity many years ago from a book called Contagious, not even from any other space. I read the book. I have that book behind me right here in the shelf. Okay, it's called Contagious. Contagious is a great book. I recommend that you kind of get that book. It's a fantastic read, right? If you want a soft copy of that book, you can get into the comment after this video and just chat Contagious. I need it. I'm gonna give it out. I'm gonna send it to you somehow through your email or WhatsApp number. So it's a great book. It's a great read. I read Contagious and I learned the principle of scarcity. Now, people are often motivated by the fear of missing out, right? Now, highlighting the scarcity of an opportunity can create urgency. Now, FOMO, which is for more, fear of missing out, is something that a lot of people, they don't want to miss out on something beautiful. Nobody wants to miss out on something great, isn't it? Right? So, for example, if you're promoting a limited time offer, right, you emphasize that it's only available for a short period, maybe 1 week, maybe 7 day offer. I do that a lot in my training. Okay, so there are two ways I do mine. I use either short time is available for a short period of time, or there are limited seats available. In my coaching courses, because of my training facility, I always go for 20. So when I put out the ad, it's 20 seats only. By the time we're doing the follow-up ad, it's 15 seats remaining or 10 seats remaining. And before you know, 4 days, 3 days to the training, just 2 seats left. People now, you'll be amazed that people will wait until a day to the final day. They know that the time is going to lapse, so they quickly want to rush and pay. That's because there is a limited time offer on that product or service. So scarcity really works. It's a very powerful persuasion tool or technique that you can utilize. And so even politicians, let's look at some examples or general real life examples of persuasion skills or techniques that people use across board. Let's take politicians, for example, right? So you see how politicians use these techniques during campaigns. Now they tell stories about their upbringing, they appeal to the voters' emotions, and they go ahead to showcase endorsements by very respected figures in society. So you see, they use 3, 4 skills in one campaign setting. And then in business, you also see that these persuasion skills and techniques, they're also utilized. In business, for example, you think about how top salespeople use these techniques to close deals. So in closing of deals, you will see a whole lot of these techniques we've talked about play out when business people try to close deals, especially top salespeople. They go as far as using the storytelling technique. They use emotional appeal. They use social proof. They use reciprocity. They tell you, okay, we're going to provide you after sales service, but even before that, let's show you how it works. Let's give you some offer. All of those kind of things. And they utilize all of that. And sometimes they even go through scarcity and tell you, we just have this product. There are just 2 left, and this is just one of them. The other one is with my colleague and all of that. So you're asking yourself, if this is a limited offer, why don't I just get it? Because everything they say sounds great, and they've shown me testimonials of people that have bought that product. So you see, in business, it is utilized. In politics, in everyday life, you find that all of these things are used for the persuasion skills that we've talked about. So you need to utilize them and begin to get better. This is what it's all about. So today we explored the art of persuasion through storytelling, emotional appeal, social proof, reciprocity, and scarcity. I promised you 5. I've delivered on the 5. So these techniques can significantly enhance your communication skills. But hey, one thing more. Before you jump off this video, you need to try these skills in your next conversation and share your experiences in the comments below. Don't forget, please like, share, subscribe. this video for more tips on effective communication and everything public speaking. We'll be giving you value. Just please like, share, subscribe to this channel, and you will also be the first to be notified if you hit the notification bell. I like to continually come your way. Thank you very much. I'm Coach Emmanuel Dogba. They call me the Oxygen.